about God sitting around a little campfire with a few other people. I thought, now that would have been a church. Wouldn't that have been one we'd all like to go to, to sit in on? Yeah.
Well,
of course, we as women might not have had
been invited.
We might not have been invited.
I honestly believe, and it's because of the ego and because of man's inherent need to control and excuse the expression, use his manhood, his whatever. We have too much of that, and I think women have more. What I want to say, humility, and are able to interact with each other and other people better than men are. And I've said for a long time, I believe that the leaders of this country and our church and everything else, there are going to be more and more women because man has abused so much of the power he's been given.
Amen. Look at the TV today.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard that Democrats said they'd rather vote for a pedophile, or Republicans would rather vote for a pedophile than a Democrat.
Yeah, yeah. That doesn't
Golly.
Golly.
Doesn't make sense.
No. No.
But we've regressed so far now.
Yeah, I know.
With this whole Trump thing.
I know.
That it puts women back, further back again.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's doing that.
Where did the people come from? Are they insecure and paranoid? Is that what?
Those great people that you read with your dad, with what he had written. Those great people aren't the ones that are going to save us.
No.
It's the little people.
The humble.
The humble. Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
But it's the great people, like the pedophile Republican, that are the ones that are out there trying to tell us what to do, instead of the humble, good Christians that we should be hearing from. We're hearing from that type of person.
Yeah.
They're ruling our world.
Do you know any Christian leaders now that you think are like Dad, are like some of the ministers we knew when we were young? Do you know any of those now?
Yeah, there's.
I'm sure they're out there. I don't go to church. My God. Yeah. Do you go to church, Brittany?
I've been going to Unity, and my preacher will come on the 30th to our group if you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Mm-hmm.
More the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Unity is a pretty good church. I may try to go to that. I may try to go to that.
Come on.
Did your granddad tell you that we're all kind of writing things down and eventually going to put them in book form?
Mm-hmm.
And my section of the book is going to be titled, "I Went Looking for God and She Found Me." I kind of believe that.
I can type real quick.
My only problem, I don't think God is he, she, or it.
No, of course not.
And
no.
I think we need to hit it.
And we need
as spiritual beings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Creator, all that is. You know, I've said this before, but when I was a kid, I used to sit and look at the stars and think to myself, what's beyond the beyond?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is there just a big blank door somewhere? Is it just, does it go to blackness? What's beyond the beyond? And there's the universe and the world we live in. It just boggles my mind that He created all.
Yeah.
And
I can remember your mom's memoir, and she says, I looked up at the stars and I thought, those are God's stoplights.
Yeah.
Just that visual of her, and having a connection with the visual of her as a child.
Yeah.
Growing up and feeling connected to your people before you.
Yeah. and one of the things that I think that we as people, I said in my short writings about learning about God, I think I learned about God from my mom and dad, not by what they said, but by the way they lived, and the way they treated other people, and other people treated them, and how they accepted Japanese people during the Second World War, and they were called everything, traitors to whatever, and they just blew right away. I mean, it didn't matter to them. Yeah. And how Kirby and I would eat with the hobos, either in the kitchen or on the back porch, depending on the smell test. My mother would go out and shake their hand when they'd come by and want breakfast. And she'd smell them. If they smelled all right, they'd come in the house. If they didn't, we ate outside.
But they still ate.
But they knew hobos would get off the train and know to come to our house.
And we were starting out in some in ministry. We often had the poor folks coming by and wanting help, and
you didn't have much to give, but you gave it.
Well, we would feed them carloads of kids, and we'd feed them, and the hobos, the individual hobos, were just on the road all the time, and they came to the church. That's not a reality now.
Who was the theologian, Kirby, that you told me about, that when he was in seminary, he went through the Bible, the New Testament, and took all the references out about serving and caring for the poor and the least of these, and 2/3 of the New
God's
Testament.
Politics.
Is that what it is?
That's what?
Is it
God's Politics.
Is it a book?
Yeah, it's a book. It's in an Audible too. I own it.
Who was the writer?
You were really into it.
Yeah.
One of your professors.
Yeah, one of my professors.
Potoff?
Huh?
Was it Potoff?
Yeah, Potoff. They wrote a book about his book.
If you cut out the scriptures from the Bible about service and you held up the pages, they were all missing because they're all about service, right?
Yep. And you don't hear that often.
No. Kirby, what do you this pretty much, is this different than what you preached about what we read here?
I don't think so.
I just wondered how this made you feel.
I have a writing that my Nana wrote years ago. Do you want me to read it?
Okay, what is it?
He was writing about horseback riding up the Monte Cristo with his friends, camping, horseback riding down the next day, and fishing. And he said, in the vastness one experiences at the top of the world, silence is welcome. Replete and tired from a long day of experience and exertion, one feels a part of a whole far beyond one's daily experiences. Bill's next comment reflected that. Here's the comment. I wish time would stand still and we could stay up here forever. It elicited in my mind Peter the disciple with Jesus on another mountain. They were there when Moses and Elijah appeared. Pete was so excited, he about peed his pants. He proposed they build a tabernacle and stay up there. That must be a universal desire when one is on top of a mountain. Up here, one's view is transfigured.
Mm-hmm.
So true.
It is
so true. That look unto the hills.
That's a place to go and understand God. That is.
Where do you find God? Where do you find God? Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't realize you were on top of a hill, and you've got a nice view over this side and all around.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're up on this hill.
Do you fellas take anything in your coffee?
Mine's black. I'll take half a cup.
Here, I'll help you.
I'll take a half a cup.
You know, I think I've in my life I've experienced God in two ways. Thank you, Rita. I experienced God
That's hot.
in those kinds of environments.
Mhm.
I remember sitting in Pinecrest,
Mhm.
which was the youth camp in
Uh-huh.
the mountains,
Hundreds.
high school camp,
Mhm.
and the campfires they would have at night, and the train that would be going across the mountain on the other side, and those kinds of
Oh, you got some. I didn't see
beautiful
that. I'm sorry.
moments.
Thank you.
Those kinds of beautiful moments.
Mhm.
You experience God. You feel Him.
Mhm.
And then the other place you feel God, I think, is when you're under stress.
Mm.
When you're really hurt,
Mhm.
and you're down, so far down, you just turn to Him, to this spiritual being, and say, I'm finished, you know, and to have Him come back and say, be still and know that I'm God. And I've experienced that.
Mhm.
I've almost heard the words,
Mhm.
and it, you know, it's finding God through the peaceful and the beautiful, and then finding God through the stress.
Mhm.
I think are the two ways, and I think we have to write those things down. I think our own personal experiences like that are the things that people then can relate to.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
At our church, I've been talking to the church here, and there's some people about your age
Mhm.
that asked me to help them understand how we can get this church going again. And we had a number of people in there uh, for 4 Sundays, Sunday school time, and we would talk about how should we get this church back in gear. And one of the women said spoke out, said, Kirby, Kirby was the best pastor we've ever had. And I said, whoa. I said, whoa. I said, the reason I was celebrating and pastor because we are all of our church was part of Baker. The church had the choir in the church every Sunday. The fraternities and sororities came out and they were there. And on the fifth Sunday of the winter, they would it'd be a sorority and a fraternity for the service, and it was that it wasn't me, it was them. That
It was the participation.
the participation, and when I first got here, there,
Yeah, but you welcomed it.
yeah, I welcomed it, but I saw 8 pastors who were attending church. 4 of them were professors, and 4 were retired. And I thought, oh my God, they're gonna. And that was a resource.
Yeah.
One of the pastors followed. Just thought that people in the pastors they just get me cross-eyed, and it's and but they were that was it was oh well that's it.
Well, that you had a good church because everybody was a part of it.
And now the church is gone. Well, Baker is not a Christian church now. It's a football and basketball and page.
It's an evangelical church.
Not anymore.
Well, I know that evangelical is supposed to mean something positive, but boy, the more I hear evangelical,
Yeah.
the more I just cringe.
Yes, you're right.
Well, what did you mentioned something about the preacher a few weeks ago. You said the preacher's wife is really progressive and nice. She leads Sunday school, but the preacher is rushing through the service.
Mhm.
He's an okay guy, but he just
No, it's the other way.
gets there to get out.
Yeah. That's
Babcock.
what I was talking about there is Paul, Paul and his, Babcock and Abby. Is it Abby? Anyway, his wife was a daughter of a preacher, and he was she went to seminary, went through seminary to teaching, and she's brilliant and bright. But Paul, and I just talked to him yesterday. Paul, there's a lot of conflicts in this church, and Paul won't deal with them.
Passive.
He's very passive. He'll just have these nice sermons and sweet and hung, and there's a whole, like all the stuff going on with all the people in our world. He just kind of
Sounds like we need to preach to the preachers.
yeah. There's some of them.
Do you go to church down there?
I've been twice lately,
Have you?
and my preacher can come here on the 30th.
Your teacher thinks you're what?
My preacher can come here on the 30th.
Oh,